So here we are tonight. You've seen a couple of our episodes of Builders and Smoke, and we've introduced some of our houses and some of our cool clients that we get to work with on a day-to-day basis. I've told you about me and Nate. You've seen Nate on rolls and videos, and you've seen me walk through homes on videos. But tonight we want to take the opportunity to let you guys get to know us, the Markways. The third generation, we'll talk about the first generation and what we learned from them and growing up with them, and we'll get to the second generation, and then we'll get to me and Nate, and we're going to take tonight to introduce the fourth generation that is already introduced to the company, and half of the fourth is already there, and we're going to get them figured out and rolling. So, but tonight I just want to introduce. So I'm Matt Markway, Markway Construction. This is Nathan Markway, my brother. Markway Construction, Kyle Markway, Nathan's son, and Mac Markway, my son, and we're going to get started.
Great smile. Kid's got a great smile.
He does.
Doesn't he?
Hey, come on now.
So, where do we begin? Where do we begin? With let's go way back.
Probably Norb. I mean, the
Beginning.
So-
that's where it
The beginning.
started. You know, with the Navy CB. Came back from the Navy and came to St. Louis and started St. Louis Construction
Yep.
in '47, I believe, and killed it. Just immediately built up a reputation of trust, character, quality, and worked on a handshake. And I think it was two or 3 years after that, he started split with his partner
Yep.
and started Markway Construction.
Yep.
Norbert Markway Construction, and so it's
Just,
been going on for a long time.
Just a great craftsman himself, learning from the CBs, was a carpenter, was a farm boy in Jeff City.
Yeah.
Grew up in Jeff City, where if you go to Jeff City and you know Markway, there's quite a few of us over there. He was a go-getter, and he was kind of one of the first ones that we're going to talk about sports history tonight with us, and he was a great baseball player, a great farm boy baseball player. Made it to the minor leagues of St. Louis Browns back in the day. And back in those days, they didn't make any money, and there was a fight to make the team. And he said that's enough baseball, and got with the family and started trying to support his family. But there's so many stories that me and Nate hear on a day-to-day basis. We're still working for generations that Norb touched.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's families, and I won't mention their names, but that some families followed from Jeff City that we have strong relationships with. And you're working for a client that
Norb worked for the
yep.
grandparents. Our father worked for the parents, and now we're working for the
right.
grandkids.
Yeah.
So it's very big shoes to fill, but it just pushes you.
Yeah,
Makes
and
you-
what a human being to live up to. He would go to mass every day, I believe.
Yeah,
Every day?
his whole it was not on Papa to us, and our whole lives were based on faith. Yeah, church, 6 o'clock mass every morning. I think he would come into the office. Well, the office used to be at his house, so he'd come in the office first. Get up and walk to the office, and then go to mass, and then come back and start pushing. But he did everything fast and gave probably, if I had to guess, 10 to 15% of his yearly income to the church.
Entire life.
Yeah.
To the church?
Entire
Wow.
life to
Yeah.
the parish. The parish, what parish was it?
St. Clements.
St. Clements, right
Yeah.
there off of
Yeah.
Bope Road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And we actually did the chapel up there.
we did.
15 years ago. So.
Yeah, we built the prayer. I think what do they call it, like a prayer chapel, I believe, or something. Yeah.
We're not as
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
as
Papa
church
Bert
going.
did.
I mean, we're
Carrying
faithful,
that.
but
No.
going to
Tradition.
church every day, that guy is he was
a job.
something.
Yeah.
And heard so many stories, especially when he passed away, about him helping people that with money or with anything, he would help them. And but what a genuine human being. And then
I don't think, I mean, I'm not speaking for Mac,
Yeah.
but I've never heard of like stories about
No.
the original Norbert, and so this is all
No.
new
You know,
to
I-
me.
And the stories
you
that
know what?
I've heard have never been bad. There's
I
nothing
don't
bad.
know. I don't know which of our uncles and our dad had, they all had little bits
Yeah.
of Pawpaw or Norb.
yeah,
I think Bert, our dad, had the same hustle
I do.
and drive. Mick probably had the character and
the just Mick is still one of the
personalities,
most kind-hearted
caring,
people in the
giving.
world.
So did he run it? Did
He was by
Norbert-
himself.
He
Yeah,
ran it,
single owner,
and did
single owner.
Papa
worked
Bert
under
and the uncles
Took
Mick
over.
and everybody
Yeah.
were they
Yep.
in the field for him?
So each one was different. They each kind of went their own path. Mick was the only one in the field, and then Pops, he came back from the war.
Yeah.
Severely
he went to
wounded.
he went to
So-
work for St. Louis Brick.
Yeah.
and then I think Pawpaw Norb, I'm gonna call him Pawpaw because that's what he is to me. Got so busy, he asked him to come aboard, and
Yeah.
I think meanwhile Jeff was studying to get his architectural
Architecture
degree,
degree, yeah.
and he came to work, and I don't think ever finished that up, but he did a lot of in-house drawings
He did.
for Markway.
Back when it was all paper drawings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
real blueprints. And I
Yeah.
still remember, I mean, heck, even when me and Nate took over, a couple of the offices were set up for real blueprint drawings
Yeah.
and old draft
Yeah.
boards. And,
Yeah.
and it was a different time. And, Norb always had a great quote, and I love this because, and I touched on this on a couple other interviews, but you remember this saying, and it sticks with me. Him just saying that we had no competition.
Yeah.
And he wasn't like that. He wasn't
No, it wasn't.
He wasn't-
arrogance.
boastful but he said that, and he honestly he felt it, and so he kind of set the tone. I mean, he set the tone for the standards. I've heard stories, many stories. Just heard one a couple years ago from a current client and their parents that Norb came under budget on the project, and he came back and wrote him a personal check and said, "No, we made our profit. We don't need that money." And
And we carry that on
we
today.
do, we
we're-
do that all the time.
I mean, we don't ever try to get rich on anything.
No.
We want to make a little bit of money
Yep.
on every project, but we want to be fair. I mean, to me, it's funny because I think the reason we've lasted so long and been so successful is for that. And you wish that everybody knew who you were when you're introduced to new clients and
Right.
things like that. You wish that everybody knew what type of person you are. Like it was visible. You could see it, feel it. That hey, because contractors get a bad rap, and you have to defend yourself, explain yourself every single time you're meeting somebody new, and you just want to say, hey, we're here. We're going to make a little bit of money, hopefully.
Yeah.
You're going to have the
know who
best
you are.
project. It's going to be quality. It's going to be timely.
Yeah.
And you're going to have us for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
One of my best selling points is, people will build a house with us
Yeah.
or even do something small. And I always tell them, and I'm sure Matt does the same thing, is you've got us for life.
Yeah.
If your toilet stops up 5 years down the road and you can't get a hold of a plumber, all you do is call us, and
Yeah.
then
We'll get it
we
done.
got some leverage, and we get it done. And our subs love us, so they love our clients, so they follow up. And I think that's one of the most special things. Is
Yeah.
one thing Dad told me, which I loved everything he told me. This one, I wasn't sure I agreed with, and I think you've probably gone. You have not followed him with this either. Is we get close to our clients.
Yeah.
And some people say, that's not the healthiest thing to do,
Yeah.
but it's hard not to.
Yeah.
Because you invest everything in it, and just to see people smile or Like when you had Nick on, sitting in his bar having a bourbon, just saying, "Hey, this is my heaven." That means the world to me.
It's
and
our heaven
it's
too,
sappy,
right?
but it's.
And you're,
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
you're working with these people every
Right.
single
Yeah.
day. You're
Yeah.
seeing their routine. You kind of become part of their life for
do.
Yeah,
But
and
you
that-
know
and
what?
that's-
however long.
You know what you see is, and Nate hears about it all the time too. There's a lot of horror stories I hear. Like, how many times I'll never work. That builder will never step foot in my house. And
Right.
and I'm honest to God, we don't have those experiences. Knock on wood.
No.
Knock on wood. We do. We become friends with 90% of our clients, and it's just as natural. We try to treat everybody with respect. We give a great product.
Well, and I think
service.
Yeah, and I think that even there's times where we'll take a hit,
Yeah.
financially on a job, because there's some people no matter what you do, no matter what you say, they're not going to be happy.
Right.
And you know what? It's very hard for us to understand, or accept. It's part of it. And I recently had a client that I lost a little bit of money on, and they had an issue with a part of their house that they needed some help with me for, and I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I shouldn't go back and help, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to, because maybe it'll flip the switch on them and
Yeah.
put me over the, get me to where I want to be.
Yeah. It doesn't change
with
us.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times, like when I was younger, like that customer for life thing is real. Like I've seen my dad go to a person's house at 9 p.m. at night, leave the house and
even on a
not
Saturday night or something, right?
on a Saturday night driving home from a vacation.
Yeah.
He's getting a call, or we're on a vacation. He's taking the call. I mean, it's real, and there's no bickering or anything. Goes there, fixes the problem, heads back home, on to the
Well,
next day.
you know what Nick said when we were talking? Nick brought that up, how at the beginning of the job, I told him that, what you just said. I said, Nick, it's our house for life.
Yeah.
We're not, I mean it. It's our house for life. We're going to take care of it. And he was talking about it, and just he was shocked that we followed through. We follow through with that.
Yeah.
And I said, in today's society, I told him, a lot of people talk so much. Like, they talk about customer service. They talk about we're great and all that, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like, you got to walk it.
Yeah.
Like, there are uncomfortable times. We had that one 2 years ago on Christmas.
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember
When
something on
temperatures
Christmas.
got down to -5.
Yeah.
And houses all around St. Louis, pipes were freezing. And
Yeah.
on Christmas, I remember, you and I were running because
Well,
we didn't want
in the-
to put our employees out.
Yeah,
So-
but you know what? You know what was cool about that? So Christmas Eve that year, which I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was Christmas
I
Eve.
had one of my clients who lives by herself, had pipes freeze in the attic or something, and was getting water everywhere. And her son called me on Christmas Eve, like 5 o'clock. We had everybody at our house, and I knew I couldn't do it by myself.
Yeah.
So of course I was going.
Yeah.
But then I called, and like the first 3 guys I called, a couple carpenters and a labor, they're like, hell yeah, we're
How
going.
cool is that?
Right.
And so,
How cool is
so what's cool is everybody buys in. If you lead
in.
by example, which
Yep.
we're not perfect by any means, but I'll tell you, if something needs to be done for a client, like Max said, it doesn't matter what time of day it is,
Yeah.
if it's a holiday. My goodness, and you know what's cool is, like, my wife Angie, and Trish is probably the same way, or is the same way. Like, yeah, you got to do it.
Right.
You know, like,
They never
she
complain.
says, well, I hate for you to do it, but I understand. You got to go. And I mean, boy, if people can't see the forest through the trees on something like that, then there's nothing you can do.
Right.
But that kind of stuff makes me so proud.
Right. Right.
Really proud.
I think it's not only us being, fourth generations. We have a ton of family within our business that, they see their
Exactly.
pops do something and then they learn from them, and it's just being passed down throughout the
Exactly.
company.
Second generation
Exactly.
carpenters
Yeah.
and laborers and
Everything.
which is so special.
Everything.
And they are like family to us. I mean, we are like one big family. And they all know what you guys are doing. They all followed you.
Yeah.
You guys when you're when you're playing, and It is, and again, I don't think that's normal.
No.
I don't think that's normal. I think there's turnover. One thing I always say is there's not many people in our market that have their own carpenters
It's family.
and their own laborers. There are employees, and they care. A lot of guys get into this business and they come in and they sub everything out. So there's that quaint intimacy of us, and it's not really there. You try to fake it through it, but it's not. Nate and I both worked in the field over 20 years.
Yeah.
So I always tell them, I've said it's, people have heard my story of graduating college and thinking, all right, let's roll.
Yeah.
And here's your apprentice card,
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
Nate worked in the field since 19 years old.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
20. I would say 20.
20.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I grew, when I first started, I worked every goddamn Christmas vacation and spring
Yeah.
break
Yeah.
and summer as a laborer. And like, it was great because the money, I felt like
Yeah.
I was freaking wealthy.
Yeah.
You know, especially compared to my guys that were my
Yeah.
buddies that were flipping burgers and shit like
Yeah.
that. So, but I wish I would have enjoyed it a little
Yeah.
bit. But that's what's made me
That's
who
what's
I
our
am.
ground.
Like
That's who we
I don't
are.
know anything
It's our
else. Like there's
DNA.
no way I'm gonna say, hey Matt, I'm out of here because I'm gonna go be a social whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I this is all I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all I know.
That's what I was thinking before we even sat down and we all got together and talked. When's the last time
Well,
we've been able to do this? You know,
It's
'cause
hard.
it's just-
Exactly.
We're all
We're
going
always
in
schedules
different
online.
directions.
yeah.
And I mean that's
And we need more of this. We need
Yeah.
more of this. You know.
yeah. It's even better when we get to the farm. I mean,
It
you
is.
know, and we're all there together. Let's talk about. So Nate, I've talked about. I want to hear. We've all four of us is a pretty cool thing that we've all played
Oh shit, the soccer thing.
Division I soccer. Nate's in charge of the stoking, and I'm really disappointed in what's going on back here.
Well, I know. I thought I was gonna be
So,
banking on
we
this
got
to
it.
stay. Joe,
So this is a good view.
get in here, Joe.
Well, look at that, guys.
Look at
They look
that.
professional
That is
back
awesome.
Well, it's
there. It's gonna keep us warm
Damn it.
when it all gets
It's
back
gonna be
to it.
perfect. Take the attention off Kyle lighting that cigar.
So,
Yeah.
but
So what were you saying?
so a lot of people don't know. They know. To be honest, a lot of people know about Markways and football because of these two guys. But what?
And you.
Nah, but more about these two guys. So
Oh,
the only soccer player to come out of the family right here.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was a goalkeeper, so I'm not truly a soccer player. I
And,
mean,
and you know what? To your argument, Mom always told me you wanted to play football.
I did want to play football. But
Mom said it was too dangerous.
Because I was a juvenile diabetic. Oh yeah, I had diabetes. Can't play football with diabetes. You know.
Too
I probably
dangerous.
could. If I been faster and bigger and stronger, I'd have been a damn good football player. But I was slow, probably undersized. I'm not really undersized. I'm just
No.
undersized
Yeah.
next to you three. But well, I'll figure that out. I'm still. I'm
Yeah.
getting after
But
it.
Nate played Division I soccer at Memphis University. So
Memphis State.
it was Memphis
Penny
State.
Hardaway. Penny
Memphis-
Hardaway and I were in
Penny
the same
Hardaway.
class. Yeah. Stuck.
Penny Hardaway.
Stuck
You and
together.
Penny
They
Hardaway.
got
He
Nate's,
had-
Nate's jersey and Penny Hardaway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The cool thing was at the athletic center, Penny always had like 6 tutors, and I didn't have any. You know.
You know one thing
My grade
you know a
showed it.
story that sticks in my mind? Me and Mom came and
guys had
saw
turned
you
around?
down in Memphis when you were playing soccer down there. Because Nate was my buddy. I mean, that's
Well, I was-
so.
yeah, we had
And we went and saw him, and I remember the story sticking out. And I just started. I was playing football, but he said, Matt. He said, man, the football players, they got practice and they get like these buffets of fruit and everything's laid out for them. And
That was back then too.
we
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
get that
And it was
stuff.
Memphis.
And I remember thinking, damn, I think this is the right path.
I think this is the right path.
And I think that's when my soccer career ended. I
Yeah.
focused on football. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But so now, Kyle comes about, and this is great. And there's so many. How do I say this? There's a lot of meatheads in the sport of football in the coaching world. right?
Yeah, for sure.
And especially Little League. Little League football is just infiltrated with dads who want to be tough and bad, and they are not tough and bad, and they're not
guys
good
who
coaches.
haven't done it.
And so
Exactly.
Kyle, never forget, Kyle started playing. He was the first grandkid to start playing, and I was so excited, and Nate was excited, and big kid, athletic
big.
kid.
He was big.
And I remember he went to practice, and I mean, they were jerks. They were complete jerks. What, you're 7 years old, and they were
Yeah,
just like a military academy.
I don't remember the.
Well, there was
incident.
like
Where was that at?
at the first place we
JB.
went to. There was like a
Jefferson
no.
Barracks.
First we went to.
See,
Well,
JCYA.
I'm not gonna use any names, but they had Kyle was like I think 6, and they had
6 years old.
and you came with me.
Yeah.
And they sat all these 6 to 12-year-olds in the middle of this hot field in like August, and 2 grown men ran like offensive schemes for like 2 hours, and these kids were like passing out. And they had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Had no clue what was
happening?
going on. And I think we left early that night. I think we
think it
grabbed
was.
Kyle. We
That was
picked him up.
it.
We said, "This isn't the."
This is the right fit.
Were you there with it? Were you there
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
You
He
guys
came
were
to-
together?
Yeah, I was
He
like-
came to everything.
Yeah, I was there. And
Football-wise,
me and
'cause I
Nate
didn't
looked
know
at each other. and said,
stuff.
Nate, I mean, this is not.
Yeah.
This isn't good. Kyle's eyes are big.
Yeah.
And I do. I
It was
think.
horrible.
And I'm saying that because I want to use that as a lesson. Like, believe me, I do believe society is very soft right now. But the Little League football, there was a lot of non-healthy environments for that.
Yeah.
And that didn't make you a great player, or not a great player. And,
And I'm sure
and that's
right
what
now-
got me into coaching, because I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, this is obnoxious.
Well, the next
you know?
stop, you were like probably maybe 7 or 8,
Yeah.
and one of the coaches took one of those blocking pads or whatever and hit him right in the gut, knocked the wind out of him. And he came home from practice, and the next night I took him to practice, and I said, "Okay." He said, "I'm not going." And he sat in my truck, and we talked. I don't even remember. Do you think you ended up going?
He said, "I'm
I don't
not going."
remember.
I remember you. I think you called me that night, and like, he's not going.
Yeah, maybe we were totally.
Where was this at? Jefferson Barracks?
Totally
He's not
missed
going.
that one.
He's not going.
That was at Jefferson Barracks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but what we had some fun
Persevered,
times.
though.
And you know what?
Made it.
it makes you stronger, right?
So
I
when
mean,
I started
just
kind of
painful.
helping coach there, I'll never
Oh, yeah.
remember this story. The me and Nate were talking, and me and Nate always got along with all the kids. When you're coaching Little League football, the personalities of these kids is just it's awesome. I mean, you talk about taking your blood pressure down after
Oh,
work.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But I remember we were talking to all these kids.
Bobbleheads.
Yeah, this one kid, you'll remember this.
Alex, Bobby Boucher.
No,
Bobby
not Bobby
Boucher.
Boucher. But it was, we were talking to all these kids. We're like, hey, man, what are you going to be when you grow up? What are you going to be?
yeah.
He's like, all the kids.
Joe.
Kyle's like, I'm going to play for the, Kyle's like, I'm going to play for the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to, this kid's like, I'm going to play for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
We get to and like 4 of those kids come down, and we get
You
to
know what's
this.
the best thing about that story? Not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
He did.
No,
Got video of it.
he did.
Insert the
Lesson
video.
learned.
Insert
I don't know
No
what
stopping
happened to
us.
this kid where I'm going
No
with the
stopping
story,
us.
but he said, remember this? He goes,
Weatherman?
we're like a dentist.
Oh, a dentist.
And I'm like, well, that's different. Like, that's awesome,
Yeah.
but you're like 8 years old.
Probably a very mature.
He's probably a
decision.
great dentist now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a wise decision. But
Well,
I
I think
remember
there was a
me and
weatherman,
you were
too.
laughing.
I think
so
there was a
weatherman too.
Yeah.
And we were just. I remember.
It's great. We
But
weren't that
we
good.
were-
We were not that good of a football team.
No,
with
we
the,
were
with
trying
the
to get
dentist
better.
and
We were trying to get
with
better.
the dentist and the weatherman.
So you were coaching Little League?
I was helping. I was like, I was kind of like getting.
I would get
Yeah.
game practice plans.
Yeah.
Local Matt and I would run practice. Which, that shows you how bad the coaching was because I was running practice.
I don't remember. I wish I did.
Oh
We
man.
probably had
Sure
about
did.
7 concussions by
Yeah.
that time.
Did?
Because those helmets, those JV
I remember going to that shed and picking up.
Oh, the helmets were like they were just like a bowling ball with a face mask on.
Oh, yeah.
Hardly any pad in
Oh,
there.
man.
You had the same thing at
Kirkwood.
And then, so Kyle, God love him. He went to Vianney and battled. I mean, sophomore. I remember me. Was it freshman year? I wasn't helping.
Yeah, you were. You
No,
helped
not
on
freshman year.
Yeah, well, you came up there.
But
But you
he
weren't on
was-
staff, but you came up there.
But I remember he was just balling out. I'm like, why is he not? Like, he's pretty good. He should
Yeah.
probably be up a few levels. And we just,
Yeah.
we weren't like that. We weren't raised like that, so we didn't say anything. We just,
Yeah.
you know, and I know he went through some rough years in the early years, but then one of our mutual best friends took over,
Yeah.
Paulie Walnuts
Coach
Day. And what an awesome run.
Yeah, I mean, that's
And-
one of the best. I mean, the importance of having a good coach
Yeah.
Oh my
in,
God, people
in
don't
sports
understand
is, I mean, a kid's career
don't.
can be ruined because he doesn't have good coaching. And
Yeah.
you know, I was fortunate from starting in 6th grade on. I was just hitting. You know, every time I had a good coach, my career was just
Yeah.
you know, kept on elevating. So
And during that time, me and Nate were both the type of guys where we're not going to sit and bitch if we're not going to do it. Like, you know, so I remember sitting there and I told the story. I remember Mark Kornfeld, I told Nick's story. Slew was just beating Vianney's lights out one game. And Mark Kornfeld, who I love, who was the OC at Slew with his dad, Gary. And they scored like a touchdown to go up like 35 or 42 points in the first half. And me and Aunt Trish were at the game.
This was when
before,
Kyle was playing?
This is before you got there. And I was like, God damn, we're getting waxed. And me and Aunt Trish were like, let's just go to a Friday night game and have fun, you know? And we just got waxed. And there's some
Which at that time was a pretty good option. Like your odds of
Yeah.
winning at those games
but
was not great.
So the Vianney parents were yelling at Kornfeld for scoring that extra touchdown before halftime. And this is when I fell in love with Mark, and I'm like, Mark's my type of guy, man. But he looks up at the stands. He says, I'll score more M&F touchdowns. And I'm like, God, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I want my kid to play for him.
Yeah.
You know, and but that's when I started, thinking about getting into coaching and stuff. And then Kyle and then during that time, Mac came about, and I decided to put him with my alma mater, the Kirkwood Cardinals.
Kirkwood Cardinals.
And that was we had a blast. So Kyle was playing high school at Vianney, and we were playing. Mac was little.
I really started
a little
the
guy.
bleachers at Vianney.
Oh, yeah, he would.
Yeah.
He earned a lot
That was
of.
a fun
Probably
player.
earned a letter at Vianney.
I probably
Probably.
earned a letter of
spent a lot of years under those
games.
bleachers. Yeah.
And I remember when he was playing at Kirkwood, and I'd be like, Trish. Trish was the biggest supporter when I was coaching, Aunt Trish, and she'd come to every game, and I'd be like, babe, Mac has a football game tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and we got to coach it. Can you please tell him to chill a little bit? And like, the whole little Kirkwood Cardinal team would come to the Vianney football game.
Oh yeah.
So my whole team, my whole Little League team, is out there just beating the hell out of each other.
And stuffing themselves
no.
in the
Oh,
snack
and eating
bar.
hot dogs.
Here's the
and
thing.
Snack
We were
bar
never
over
playing.
nachos.
We were never playing against each other. It was us against some
No,
other
I know
random
you
kids.
thrashed a lot of people.
Smashing
But
them.
it was-
Smoking them the whole game.
I would finish coaching the game, and I'd come out of the locker room after, and I'd see these guys, and they were beat to hell. Their shirts are ripped. They've got bruises and black eyes, and I'm like, oh my God.
And what we do the next
I
day?
said, Trish, we got a game tomorrow at like 8 a.m. at Herbert Hoover.
What,
you know,
what
like,
we do the next
you
day?
know?
Put up about 60 points.
Easy.
We had some good teams. Leland, Cortez, we had some good teams at
Coach
Kirkwood.
Leland, Coach
We had
Cortez.
solid
Totally
teams.
opposite junior football.
Yeah.
How many of those guys are still going?
Still playing?
Yeah.
Oh man, one of them's playing for Mizzou baseball.
Tyler
right now.
Tyler Macon is the
Mizzou
baseball
baseball.
player at Mizzou.
Mizzou baseball. Shoot, a good
I think we
one.
got a.
I
who
think
else?
there's like six. Six of them
Six
are
still playing in
Yeah.
college football? Wow.
Yeah.
It was a.
It was a.
And we had some
some-
personalities on that.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like we had the dentist
Yeah.
over here and the
Yeah.
weatherman.
Yeah.
But we had this kid over at Kirkwood, and he was as wide as he was tall, and I
Jay Boogie.
Jay Boogie.
I
So
remember him.
he just made me laugh every day. Like every day, he made me laugh. And I said, "Man, I got a great name for you. I'm gonna call you Pork Chop." You know,
Chop.
he's like, all right, I like that, Coach. I'll be Pork Chop. So he goes by pork chop. The whole team's calling pork chop for like 3 days, and he loves it. Then he comes up to me like the end of the week. He goes, Coach, can I talk to you? And I'm like, oh no, what's going on? Like, serious talk. He says, Coach, I don't want pork chop no more. He said, I said, well, what do you want to be called? He goes, well, I've been thinking about this. I'd like to be called
J
Jay
Boogie.
Boogie.
J
I'm
Boogie.
like,
J Boogie.
Sexier.
J Boogie was
Sexier.
about built like a bowling ball.
That's
it
a
was
big step.
sexy.
That's
It
a
was
big step.
sexy.
J Boogie was built like a beanbag.
Oh man!
You know?
So Jay Boogie it was, and God, that is one
Baller.
kid I would love to see again. But yeah, so then we're dealing with that, and Nate and Kyle are at Vianney and balling out, and I'm coaching there now because my good buddy Paul Dave's there, and Kyle's
Completely
having a-
turned the program around.
completely.
Oh, yeah.
Completely.
Completely.
Still, we're very short on talent.
He was full time on staff. He didn't. He, wasn't-
was
he
full-time.
full-time
Yeah.
on staff. He
No,
worked behind the
no,
scenes.
Yeah, he
I
was.
was
Yeah, he was.
full-time on the maintenance staff.
Maintenance,
so like I would turn
but
my
you were-
mentality.
You were the GM.
You were the GM.
GM.
You were the
was
GM.
We used the GM of Vianney football for the state championships. You know, we're gonna go public with that.
Yeah.
So
I did. I was involved. I loved it. I loved
Super
it. I couldn't
involved.
give any. I couldn't do anything on the like football wise, but I loved.
Build
I
the
loved the
relationship.
I
Build the
loved the
relationships,
sport.
yeah.
I loved the life lessons it taught. I thought you were a phenomenal coach that had a couple hiccups. Matt was so well. You were so hard on the kids, but also so positive.
And they loved him. They loved him.
loved
Yeah,
him,
and
yeah.
these guys,
Loved him.
The linemen
players
loved
would run through walls for you. And Coach Day was like that whole staff, the passion that they showed and how they built these kids up. And these were kids that had been getting their ass kicked
yeah.
for a long time.
Years.
And in 1 year, we were staying within a touchdown of some of the best
Competitive
MCC
teams.
teams.
Say 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with
That means
with
something.
probably
It does.
with
Yeah,
probably
100%.
5-6 guys going both ways
Yeah.
against a team like CBC that has 22 starters.
Yeah.
Who knows what's right or wrong, but
Right.
just completely
Yeah.
opposite.
It was, and Kyle, when he first got to Vianney, it was an awful program. And when Matt got to the SMET,
One of the
freshman
best
year,
programs.
Coming
Yeah.
off a
He
state
was-
championship, right?
started
Top
both
6 in
ways
the country.
as a freshman, played on ESPN as a freshman,
Yeah.
caught
Yeah.
passes on ESPN as a freshman, and won a state title as a freshman.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. It's different paths, and
When I was growing
But,
up, I was Vianney 100% because you
Right.
went
I
there
know.
and I was
Well,
thought
and
it
I
was
think
cool.
I think
There was no other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just.
Yeah, that's
it
all
was
you
Vianney.
did.
That's it. If I went to the SMET, I was like, no way, I'm going to the SMET. You know.
Yeah.
well,
I
we
thought
even
that growing
talked
up.
about that.
Yeah.
We talked about
We had
that,
serious talks about it.
and
It's like a sin.
Yeah.
I was probably right about that. Now that we look back at it, maybe he should have gone to,
Well,
But who knows? I'm
No,
just
it all
kidding
worked,
you.
yeah.
I'm just kidding you. It like I said, God has His plan for everybody, and it's been great. I mean,
Yeah. But I remember a story. Remember this one? Remember this one when we were coaching at Vianney? I was coaching at Vianney, and this is a great one.
I already know.
This I think put the Vianney parents. Remember they didn't know what to do. When me and
we fought on
Nate almost squared off on the track
I'm embarrassed to that one.
on a Friday night in the fourth
I'm
quarter.
embarrassed to that one.
So
I'm really embarrassed.
Kyle gets dinged, and I still call it dinged.
Oh.
Okay, I'm old
I
school.
don't remember this day.
That's how bad
how
it was. It was dang. He doesn't
I'm
remember
coaching,
it.
all of a sudden I see Kyle running to the other sideline. And I said, Coach Day, is Kyle going to the other sideline? He goes, holy, yeah, he is.
Well, I think he lined up for an extra point by himself.
He did, yeah,
He lined up in protection on the extra
I
point
said-
by
Oh
himself.
my
Kyle,
God, he
get
got
over here.
rattled.
Kyle, come here,
was
come here,
good.
get over
You were
here.
good,
I said,
dude.
get over here, man.
About a kick
Are you
snap.
all right? Yeah. I said, and I don't do this very often. But I said, Tim, the trainer, remember?
Yeah,
Tim,
yeah, you don't.
Hey,
You were right.
check him out.
Hey, he doesn't do
And-
this
and
very
Tim
often.
comes-
Keywords.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to tell the story.
and he wouldn't have done it had it been you. You would have been right back
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. Ding
Oh,
or no
get your
ding.
ass back out there.
Yeah. You protected extra point all by
All by
yourself for that ghost kicker. That's what he would have said.
Good rap. Good rap.
But so Tim comes over to me and said, I think he's okay. And I'm like, all right, well, gosh dang, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, just stand by me. He did. But then I kind of said, hey, I stand by me. Stand by me. A couple plays go by, and I hear this knucklehead from the stands yelling, put it back in! And I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
I look over, and it's me. It's Nate. So we're both very confident guys.
No, just
And you know what? It's funny because Nick's telling me stories about Jim and him, and I was laughing. But yeah, so I remember me and Nate were yelling at each other face to face on the track about if he should go back in or go back in.
Coach Day looked like he had seen a ghost.
Coach Day didn't know what to do. And I remember looking at the crowd, the Vianney crowd's looking at me and Nate like, what's going on? Like,
What's about to happen?
And then I remember I said, fine, Kyle, get your ass back in the game.
I think it was
Lines up for an
CBC
extra point
too.
again.
I think it was CBC.
It had to have been. If
It had to
you
have
wouldn't
been a
have cared
big
if it was
game.
anybody else.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of moments, and poor Mac. His freshman year, I wasn't coaching; I was the dad, and I would say this.
So we
were tough on him, but we were more focused on just being tough. Like, I don't
That was
care
the
if you
main
drop
thing.
passes.
That
I
was
don't
the
care
main
if you.
thing.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Work hard
And look who
Work hard
raised
to be
us.
tough.
God bless it. He had his leg blown off. And, and
But if you work
sucked
hard
it up.
and you're tough in high school football, you're probably going to be
Yeah.
pretty good at football.
You're going to be good at football.
You don't have
So-
that skill.
Exactly.
Matt was complaining about his wrist, like on week 4 as a freshman on the state championship run, and I'm like,
No,
I
was complaining about him the basketball season before.
Oh yeah. I'm like, you'll be all right, man.
2
You'll be
years
all right,
before.
Oh, yeah.
2 years.
So-
to figure that one out.
The season's going great, and then I don't know what game it was, man. You're like, my other wrist is kind of hurting, Dad. And I'm like, oh
think it was
man, just
Salute.
get through the season. We'll be fine. Tape them up tighter. So I remember telling the trainer, like, hey, Dan, tape those up really tight, okay?
Oh, I would get those things
And-
taped up to where I couldn't feel my hands.
It was great season.
Great season.
And after
ready
the
for
season,
basketball.
getting ready for basketball, and I said, yeah, we should probably let's go get those checked out.
Famous words.
2 broken ribs.
Famous words. The doctor goes in.
broken ribs.
This is the Markway word.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen this before.
Not one.
I've never, not one.
It took
How do
me
you
2
have 2
years to
broken
get
ribs?
Trish looked at me, and I'm like,
I think we have a pretty high pain tolerance in this family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
I think so.
had,
Which is a
You've
lost
had some
art.
mess-
That's
Put
a
your
lost
fingers.
art.
Put your hand up.
Toughness is a lost art, and I think we took it to an extreme level. Of course, concussions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But toughness is lost, man. So if you can be tough nowadays,
Make
you're gonna be head and shoulders. And I tell you, I got another great. And so this shines on you, and this is a different sport, basketball. Again, it's CBC. Kyle's a banger. He fouls out pretty much every game. And I think it was he didn't play his senior year, so I think it was his junior year.
I know you're
Junior
going
year.
at me
So
now.
so junior
I
year.
got some basketball screens on my highlight phone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kyle gets fouled. He's bent over out there, and Coach Walsh is hollering at him, "Get on the line, Kyle! Get on the line!" Kyle turns and looks at the bench, and he puts his finger up, and it's bent
You gotta look.
it's bent at a 90-degree angle. His finger's bent at a 90, and the whole crowd goes, "Oh!" And again,
What is it?
my brother, who cares so much about the kid's health, is on the end of the bench. And so Coach Walsh says, "All right, you're out, Kyle." Gets him off the court. Comes over. Tim starts messing around with it. And Kyle says, "Get over here." Grabs Kyle, grabs some tape, straightens his finger out, wraps the tape around it, and he goes back out on the court.
It's the best set I've ever done.
It's
Yeah.
so smooth.
Unbelievable. God bless
I
Tim.
stayed at a Holiday Inn, but to learn how to set that finger.
God
back.
bless Tim for
appreciate
putting
it.
up with the BS that we put him through.
Yeah, we did.
The
Six,
poor guy. What?
You said step aside. I got this.
good?
You did? He
No.
did. No. Horrible. Horrible. Horrible.
You know,
Look at that.
Horrible.
It's got a slight downhill.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Slide downhill
Zoom in.
on
Can
it.
we put it in front of the?
Yeah. Slide
No,
downhill.
it's got
I just said it
sneaking.
just a little off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. Oh, we got you. I got you right back.
Just a little
out there.
bit.
I got you right
Yeah,
back out
I was,
there.
I was playing.
No hand soap commercials for Kyle.
All my finger injuries are from basketball, unfortunately.
But I think you know what that's how we are with everything, right? Like at work, I can remember I cut the tip of my finger off one day as an apprentice with a utility knife, and you take some, and a lot of our guys are like this.
Right.
Took some electrical tape and didn't even clean it, just taped it up, stopped bleeding, get back to work with a little chunk of index finger laying on the
100%.
subfloor,
100%. Oh, we had some interesting moments when me and Nate worked in the field together. We were lucky enough to work on the same job every once in a while, and we had some moments. Remember when I brought my new compound bow in to show it off at lunch? Showing it off, pulling it back, slips out of my hand at an angle and just whacks my forearm like a dead-on hit. Oh my god! And my forearm started blowing up. Remember that?
It was
like
growing.
It
was
grew.
growing. I don't even know what
I
you
don't know,
were.
like a ruptured a vein or something.
No, it was like an alien head coming out of your. I mean, it was scary, and you went into full. That's probably the only time I've seen you like, holy cow, what's going on? You're like, I think we thought it was gonna burst.
I thought my skin was gonna.
And I don't think I took you. I think you drove yourself
drove
though,
myself, but
so
I'm
I could stay at work.
I'm like, but I'm like, what in the hell? Yeah. So we had some good moments, but
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall watching you guys
Oh, yeah.
in the field.
Oh,
We were
Now that I've
100%.
been
We were
there,
good.
we were
100%.
good.
I'd like to
good
see you guys
system.
in the action.
We had a good system, and we rarely
We hustled.
we hustled. We were on the same page. We had fun. I mean, that's the key too.
You gotta have fun.
You should come
Yeah,
out of
we laughed.
retirement for a month.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. Was it last year I did it? Oh no, 2 years.
Oh, I mean,
ago. Well, I did it like that one job. I was just. I just wanted it
Yeah,
to
someone said that.
move, and I threw my tools on one day. Didn't tell anybody. I showed
Yeah.
up at 7, and
Yeah, someone told me that you had a pry bar and like you were prying something in your forearms, looked all freaking veiny and stuff. I'm saying how big you look.
oh baby, it was all for show. Kyle. It was all for show.
in front of everybody.
I achieved my goal then, right?
Yeah. Made it
But
a
yeah,
mark.
you know what?
Good.
There's nothing we'll ask our guys to do that we
No.
won't do. And still,
Absolutely not.
Still, if we got to help clean up a job to get it
Yeah.
ready for a party or whatever, we're gonna do it. I mean,
Yeah.
we do everything.
Yeah.
We do everything, and it's exhausting, but it's also
Rewarding.
really rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Matt said at the beginning, we all started at the bottom, and that's the best. Isn't this the cutter or is that a ladder?
Slider.
I think
And worked our way up. You gotta. I think it gives you just a great feel and knowledge of the business. So many of our competitors never did it, never worked
Never
in the
did.
field, but we know what it takes. We know when it's 0 degrees out and
Yeah.
stuff is frozen, and we know we're not going to get as much out of our guys that day.
Yeah.
Or if it's 105, we know, hey guys, take off at noon. It's never worth somebody getting hurt. We care about our guys, and
yeah, like I said, the main thing is we don't ask them to do anything that we wouldn't.
no,
Period.
no,
Period.
No.
That doesn't happen, or things we haven't done. I mean,
Yeah.
we've done it all,
yeah.
and
Well, back when we were in the field, Markway did it all. So like now most of our concrete work is subbed out. When we were kids or younger, we poured our own foundations. We had all our own Simon forms. We framed everything.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you would literally be there shooting grades in the hole, and then a year later be setting the kitchen cabinets.
Yep. Which
Is cool. It got to the point where
it wasn't efficient.
it wasn't efficient, and we couldn't handle. We couldn't handle it all.
Our guys carry the whole job.
Yeah.
But
You got some magicians that work for work for us. They're fun to watch. I've learned, you know,
Oh
a
yeah,
lot.
they're
They're just-
talented.
They're just these small things that they do that just you're just always like, how did they
Yep.
even think of that?
There's still stuff that I pick up from a guy. I'll be out on a job and he'll do something like, why didn't I ever think of that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, you never stop learning. And
They take pride. They take
yeah,
pride in it.
you can't be. And I tell you, another thing that I truly enjoy doing is giving our guys credit when they come up with a better idea. Like I always tell, I don't care if you're a laborer, a truck driver,
Yeah,
carpenter, apprentice.
1000%.
If you've got an idea that you think is better, that's going to help Markway and help our customer, let us know. If we don't agree with it, we'll let you know. But if
Yeah.
it's a good idea, I'm going to damn sure do it, and I'm going to give you
Right.
credit for it.
Right.
You know, and that's how you grow. I think that's how you give guys confidence and grow them as carpenters and employees and just people in general. You know.
And I know people want to hear about the sports. So, Kyle went to South Carolina and played for the legend
Yeah.
Spurrier, right?
Yeah, short stint with Spurrier.
Yeah,
Freshman
and-
year he was there.
Great. That guy.
Yeah,
He's
a lot of
awesome.
stories from that short.
Tell
You got to hear one Spurrier story.
Well, at least, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you got a better one, but tell a story about when you were laughing on the bus. You remember you were laughing, he was pissed off about something, and he turned around and he said, "Markway, what's so funny?" You don't remember that one?
It's so hard for me to remember. I
Yeah.
hate it. It's hard for me to remember. Like
Yeah.
looking back at my
blur,
college,
it's a blur.
it's a blur.
Yeah.
You know.
Because you're just working every day to.
Yeah, but there was I mean, so many moments. He would come out to practice with no shirt on, no shoes, just khaki long shorts that'd come down to here, you know, and just with his visor on, just out there, just coaching ball. He was just a.
He loved
I
it.
mean,
though.
he
He
was
loved
a
it.
ge- yeah, he was a genius, and
You know what I liked about him?
he had his guys for sure.
What I liked about him is coming in as a freshman, he always knew who we were, you
Yeah.
know, and, you know, we were a
lost
potential
art,
tight end, but always how the Markway's doing. And I was
Yeah.
like, how does he do that?
Yeah, and
That's it.
his wife was more. She was around more, like sometimes more than he was. You know,
Yeah.
she would bake cookies for everybody on their birthday. So I
And
think they were
truly
just
cared
yeah.
about
She
you guys.
truly knew every single person, knew their family.
Yeah.
She loved the players.
And those guys are few and far between.
Oh, it's
You
a
know,
lost
especially
art.
nowadays.
So, great story about Coach Fry when I was playing for him at Iowa. He was at our house recruiting me 2 or 3 years prior. Pops loved them, and we were up there after a spring game. You know, they had the luncheon after the spring games. Our family's there, and Shannon, our sister, came to that spring game, and he met Shannon one time 2 or 3 years prior at a high school kids recruit. He called her Shannon.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
I can't remember people.
I mean,
He wasn't,
a month from now.
he wasn't a young chicken then.
Wow,
either.
he's like 78 years old.
That's crazy.
I mean,
And the people that he meets every day and has to
but
talk to.
he would tell us in meetings after, and when you're young and you're a kid, you don't pay attention to everything, right?
No.
Right.
But he would try to teach us that, how important that was. And I remember the lessons now, but
Well, you know what?
it's-
It worked. Like you didn't even realize it was happening, but it was happening.
it was happening.
Yeah.
And and that I think, well, Spurrier's from that age, like
Yeah.
the old coaches, you know, that the Paternos, the Schembechlers, I mean, all the legends were like that.
They don't. There's not really.
Lou Holtz, you know,
There's not really like. There's good coaches right now.
There's not a legend.
But there's
right
not somebody who's Saban just retired.
like Saban, yeah.
Saban, there's not a guy who is going to stay somewhere.
now. There's not a guy who's up here.
Yeah, they're always moving and always looking for something
Right.
better and bigger and
Yeah. But Kyle had a good career, and what was your favorite play at South Carolina? I think I know it.
Oof.
But
Favorite play, probably the catch against Mizzou to win the game in
Yeah,
Mizzou.
that was
when
sweet.
it was.
in the rain,
I still remember where I was at when I was
rainstorm,
watching
We
that.
had like 2 long intermissions. We were all soaking wet. Barely anybody in the stadium.
Yeah.
But yeah, we beat Mizzou. I think that was the only time I beat Mizzou.
Yeah.
Was it?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
made it,
I
you know,
remember
it was-
that.
Yeah, it was a kind of a tough recruiting coming up with them, being from Mizzou and not hearing much from them and not fitting there.
So it was personal.
I think I remember there's them saying I didn't fit their scheme or something like that. So it was pretty.
Well, you went through the same thing. I mean, the only one that was recruited by Mizzou was Matt. You went through the same thing.
Yeah. I wasn't a great fit for Mizzou either. Kyron Williams wasn't either. I was
right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of St. Louis guys that
when we were coaching at Vianney, Kyron Williams
Pro
wasn't
bowler.
a great fit either.
It seems like it kind of changed, hopefully.
I think Drinkwitz has it changed.
Yeah.
I think Drink's
He knows how important it is.
Drink's. I think he's a great coach. And I think Missouri should pay
Man,
him every dollar.
I'm glad they didn't
to
recruit
keep
me,
him.
Because
You had a great
led me to
experience.
South Carolina, where
What a great place.
I had a great experience. I mean, even though it was rocky, with injuries, and that's just stuff you go through. But I met
football.
my fiance there, and
Yeah.
I got opportunity to play and move to the next level, and met my
great
best
part of the
friends.
country.
Like all the people that basically are coming to my wedding are
South Carolina.
South Carolina guys.
Yeah.
That's who I talk to the most.
Yeah.
It's my guys.
Yeah. And then Kyle fought and got picked up by the Giants out of college, and then
Barely.
played. For what, 6 teams? 16?
No, I don't know if it was, well, I probably went to 6 different camps and stuff, but 2 main teams were Browns and Rams.
Yeah.
Those were the seasons where I stayed
Yeah.
stuck around for this entire season.
And you know what? One story that sticks out to me, and I love the guy. You probably don't remember telling me this, but when you got picked up by the Steelers, and Tomlin came down, introduced himself. Such a winner. I mean, to me, he's the best coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that was such an example of leadership.
Yeah.
Like none of the other coaches would do that.
When I was going through it, I didn't realize I was
so focused.
I was focused.
Football
I had anxiety. I was stressing about, am I going to be here for a long time? Am I going to make it? I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. Now that I'm here now, and I can look back at it. I can see Tomlin on TV. I'm like, that's pretty damn cool. I was in his meetings for a little bit.
Right.
And I could hear him how he coached, and I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, you just don't.
Right.
You don't feel.
You don't think about
you don't
stuff
fully
like that.
think about it.
No,
so
you don't.
now that you're in it,
Football.
Now that you're in it, you're doing it. You need to enjoy
it.
everything you're doing.
It sucks the
Easy
pot
to
calling the
say,
kettle
right?
pot.
It is.
Wow.
It's easy to say.
It's
Kyle, I didn't realize it until I was 35 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so, you're 100,000% right.
that's just how I think we're wired as Markways
We are.
too. Is
Work hard.
there's some guys who can
Work hard and try to be the best.
who just are relaxed as all be
Yeah.
and
Right.
can still perform and go eat McDonald's and
Right.
be fine.
Yeah. No, we're not
That's just
wired.
not how,
strict.
it's not how we are.
No.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a great experience too to be picked up on the Rams and battle through an injury there, but to get a Super Bowl ring. I mean,
How many people that do that?
That's a big deal, man, and that's something you remember the rest of your life. And I'm so proud of you. I mean, I was so proud of Kyle. Just everybody thinks the NFL is so glorious. It's not. It's a gauntlet,
Cutthroat.
and you have to stay. I mean, just to be.
stay ready.
As I talked to Nick, and say you get kicked in the gut in business, but you get kicked in the gut a lot when you're.
Yeah.
in
One
the
day you have a
NFL.
job and one day you don't.
Yeah, and it's not
And
all
you don't even
glory,
know
right?
half the
You're
time.
in a residence inn, and
Oh yeah,
You
and that was
know?
when I was going through it. It was during COVID, so I'd get a call from a team and they want me to come try out, and I'd have to fly in, I'd have to spend, I think it was 7 days quarantined in a hotel room before I had to go work out,
Oh wow.
and I didn't have there's no kitchens, there's
no place to train.
no place to go train.
You're in your
So
hotel room. You're in the
I had food
hotel.
delivered.
In your
freaking-
mind.
In your mind the whole
That's
time.
all it is. You're all up in here.
Doing nothing but thinking about how am I going to do at this workout, so you're
which is the
quarantined.
worst.
That's the
Yeah, it's
worst.
Time before.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's awful. It's awful.
It's like thinking before a
And
game.
then
Yeah.
Mac, we had some awesome moments in high school, and
Yeah.
one of the coolest moments is when Michigan offered you.
7th grade.
It's at the end of your 7th grade year
That's
in,
wild.
in middle school. Coach Harbaugh offered you a full
I was
scholarship to
starstruck.
play
I didn't
tight
even
end
know what
for
it
him.
meant.
Getting an offer
And,
from that guy is pretty damn cool too.
And I will say this: that Harbaugh is one of the coolest.
He's one of the
he's-
coolest dudes in the
I
planet. He
I'm
was
a huge
awesome.
Harbaugh fan.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Markways are huge
Oh, yeah.
Harbaugh fans.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
turned into one.
He is.
He is
a-
awesome.
The guys
He cares.
love him.
His quotes,
cares.
his quotes are
Oh,
my favorite.
He gives a
he,
shit.
He is.
His
he's
vitamins
awesome.
are. I think he says his
You saw what he
vitamins
did
are
to
steak,
Michigan.
milk, and sunlight or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's,
Yeah.
it's something more funny than
Well,
that.
you know what was it? You know the funny? He was so down to earth, like
Yeah.
So
down to earth.
Well, he came up to. We didn't even know he was there.
Oh,
we
yeah.
were just in the weight room, and
Yeah.
he walked up to us.
And just like you said,
Introduced
he
himself
came
just
from
like
Jim
a-
Beckler.
Yeah.
He's like very name oriented.
And I think his whole family's that way.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Dad was a
Oh,
yeah.
legend.
Dad and
Legends,
grandfather.
legends.
But we're sitting there. It's just us out to lunch with Coach Harbaugh, and me and Trish are looking at each other,
Eating
like,
off our
"Oh,
nachos. It's like, dude, what
he's
in the
getting ready to
world?
go in 8th grade. Like, what are you doing? And we're just kind of like starstruck. And he walks into this restaurant, and he's so down to earth. He's like, I'll never forget. Remember the waitress came up to him and was like, "Coach, you want your drink?" And we're
Yeah,
like,
you want
"Wow,
your
must be
usual?"
a fancy drink?" Like, she goes in the back and buys a can of Pepsi. Was it a can of
Yeah,
Pepsi?
like a can of
He
Pepsi.
said, "Yeah, I just like cans of Pepsi."
Yeah,
And I'm like,
that's him.
Oh,
either
yeah.
a can of Pepsi or Diet
It was
Coke. I don't
something
know
like
what
that.
but
It was
it's like,
something like that.
Something
I'm like,
simple.
Something so
That's your-
simple.
Yeah.
That's your special drink? Like, that's awesome, man. Yeah.
It was awesome.
And then,
it was awesome.
Simple.
We had
Oh,
a
yeah.
great time, and I mean, Mac, you know, he is gifted and went through, you know, being the #1 tight end in the country sophomore year in high school, and then battling through a couple injuries, and but we had fun
Yeah.
visiting all the schools.
Oh, yeah.
I think Mac's the most gifted of us. Just,
I think so.
Just
yeah.
watching him. I remember watching you and Bart's, and just you doing the warm up. I'm like, that man, he's got it. You know, he's got the he's got the tools.
He was definitely. I think he's definitely the fastest.
Just powerful, fast.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
you thought. That's why he has the injuries, because he's so loose.
He's
Yeah, so limber.
body, you know,
Yeah.
is
So almost
It's too
so
loose.
energetic. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's so.
which is
it's a-
interesting.
It is. I do. I think kids, and you're seeing it. Some of these guys in the NFL that you're seeing it. The kids, real explosive kids, are the ones that get the.
Yeah, they're moving the
injuries.
fastest.
And,
Yeah.
not the blunt injuries, but like the
Non-contact.
Well, and it's just a game of percentages. I mean,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
grinding, especially at the tight end position. Like
No,
that's-
we're doing everything.
that is
Ask
one
to
of the
do
most
everything.
physical.
Oh yeah.
Especially the Markway tight ends.
Mm.
Yeah.
You guys were old school tight ends. I mean, very, very physical. You know, don't just want to catch balls. You want to knock people.
No,
on
you'd
their
rather
ass.
you'd
And
rather
just
block
the-
someone on their ass.
Oh,
than
yeah.
Yeah.
touchdown.
More satisfying.
Yeah.
But just the
Yeah.
tight end
Play-
position in general is just, you got to be as big as, you're able to block a D lineman who's 285 pounds,
The strongest guy on the field.
strongest guy on the field.
Yeah.
And then you got to run the route on
Highest
probably,
draft pick on
yeah.
and then you got to run a route on a safety who's probably the most athletic guy on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're
I mean,
100%
you got to be just
And you
in
got
every aspect of your game.
You got to
have
know
to be
everything.
dialed.
You got to know.
Yeah.
You gotta know.
Coverages.
You
You got to
know
be the second
everything.
smart player
You're the second most knowledgeable player on the field besides
on the field,
quarterback.
besides quarterback,
Well,
every
you
time.
got You got to know fullback,
You're moving all
H-back,
over the field.
tight end, inline
Receiver.
tight end,
Yep.
passing game,
Yep.
Oh yeah,
run game.
Yep. Special teams.
Yeah.
Special
And-
teams.
and
Special
tight ends
teams.
all play special
special
teams.
teams.
And
Yeah.
what's funny is and you saw it in the NFL, and we saw it when he was getting recruited, and we still hear it as the physical tight ends they're not.
They're extinct.
There's not as many of them.
No.
Nobody wants to
The
do
tight end
it.
position
Nobody wants to
went-
do it.
They want to
is
be
went
the
to like
showstopper.
Fancy.
to like bigger wide receivers.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons, I mean, you can say, but what was the main reason you chose to go play for Coach Kelly and LSU?
Oh, just his tight end tradition.
Yeah.
In general, I mean, he was putting guys in the NFL that played like me. They were
Yeah.
physical. They didn't. Yeah, they were flashy, but I mean, Coach Kelly. I mean, and their OCs there. Notre Dame.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll give to him.
Yeah.
But Coach Kelly in general, he was producing some tough dudes.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet, who's still in the NFL.
Rudolph.
He's not a Rudolph. They're not 4'3" guys. They're 4'6", 4'5", 4'7" guys.
Or 260 pounds,
Yeah.
and can put somebody in the dirt and also make a play, obviously. But it's just the mentality that those guys have. I wanted to kind of mimic.
And
in
a
a
mental
way.
game
Mimic.
out of this world.
The mental
right?
game, yeah. He knows the
smart.
position, so I was
Yeah.
like, that's
Yeah.
the perfect fit.
I think there are some. The tight end has moved to like the flashy guys are getting the social media recognition and everything.
Recognition.
But I pay attention to the guys. There's guys who are drafted late or free agents
And they're sticking around.
who make it, and they're
Stay
playing
there.
more than the guys who are doing all
exactly.
this stuff. They're
Look
the grindier guys that
They're
find
sticking
their
around.
way and stuck
Yeah.
around.
Well, look
They're
at
important.
I was watching the Packers play.
Yeah.
Watching the Bucks play. Two
Mhm.
tight ends, two heavy tight ends on the field.
Yeah.
Big
Run it
dudes.
down their throat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Playoff teams.
Yeah.
And how did I mean, that's how they won.
That's
Yeah.
how you
I
win.
mean, that's how you win.
You got to
Most
have a run
Super Bowl
game.
teams, it seems like it gets to the running game.
Yeah.
If you can control the run game, it's been years of football like that. If you
Right.
control the run game,
It's the history of the game.
Yeah.
you're gonna win. you
Yeah,
know?
it's
It's the history of the game. It's been like that.
But and Denbrock, Coach Denbrock was.
Denbrock is awesome.
He's awesome, man.
He's arguably probably my favorite coach I've ever played for
yeah.
in general, just as a coach and as a person.
Where's he now?
Notre Dame.
He's the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame.
That explains.
Yeah.
Getting ready to coach the national championship.
Yeah.
So,
Just a
but
great, came from the same cut of cloth as us,
Yep.
played tight end,
Yep.
low level ball, gritty, wasn't the biggest. I mean, and he showed that when he coached. Like you'd make a cool catch. Oh yeah, it's cool. You'd put somebody in the ground. I mean, he's fired up.
Yeah.
Like, and I loved that. Like,
I was telling that
I ate off of
story
it.
at practice that you always talk.
Yeah, I was telling you about that last night. So, my freshman year, it was like, had to have been fall camp. And I was trying to make a name for myself on the team.
You're
and
running with the ones.
running with the ones. And Coach Denbrock threw me out there against, just a great defense. And, every LSU defense. Like,
Yeah.
they're
They got
big.
guys.
They're tough.
Any
They got
SEC
guys.
defense.
Yeah,
Any
got guys.
SEC defense.
Yeah.
Call it D1 defense.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
It really though,
general.
SEC.
Yeah. So he throws me out there and he goes, Mac, you got a slice block. Anybody who doesn't know a slice block, you basically just throw your nuts out there and try to take a guy's head off. So,
Are you dividing back?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he goes, puts me against the biggest D lineman there on our team at the time, who's going to get drafted this year. And he goes, he was fired up because it was like 11-on-11, like real live scrimmage.
This is like a practice.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
End of practice. So you know the blood's pumping. You know it.
Sweaty.
And the
Oh,
OC,
yeah,
grimy.
grimy.
You know,
Hot,
the OC's
hot.
want to beat the DC's ass.
Oh, it's-
yeah.
And this is Louisiana
Late-
weather.
late
It's about
in camp?
104 degrees.
Just
it's
late
hot.
in camp.
Late in camp.
Oh.
Late in camp. So you're hurting.
Yeah, you're on like day 8.
So he goes, so I'm just getting fired up. I'm like, okay, I got to do something.
Probably got some blisters on your feet.
Telling me. I'm walking in water. So tell Coach Denbrock's just hyping me up. Just go out there. I'll sprint out there. I freaking pull over there, whack him. It was one of the best blocks I had that whole camp.
Yeah.
Because just my adrenaline was going.
Yeah.
And I've never seen him light up. His face is red, like just, let's go. Smack me in my helmet and stuff like that. Practice. That was the last play of the practice.
Yeah.
That was the last
Oh,
play of
that's
practice.
Good way
finished
to
on
finish.
that.
Finished on
Yeah.
that. So I was like, I got home and I was just like, that was just
Pull,
awesome.
you pull up the iPad real quick and say, like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, it's not loaded yet? Come on, video guy, get that tape on there.
I gotta send
And
it.
Coach,
That's that. Yeah.
Coach Denbrock was a stud, and it was so
Him and
easy to
Coach
fall in
Malone.
love with
Him and
Coach
Coach
Malone, and Coach Malone was a legendary NFL tight end coach. And, it was a great mix, and
Awesome coaches.
Coach after Mac's freshman year, Coach Denbrock moved on to take the OC at Notre Dame,
Yep.
and it speaks for itself.
Speaks for
Yeah.
itself.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good at what he
good.
does.
Yeah.
So he's taking Notre Dame to the next level, and
Hopefully
possibly
they
going
can
to
finish it off.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
to see that.
and I'd be happy for him if he did that.
Oh, heck yeah.
But so now
Brought me on to Nebraska.
now you moved on to Nebraska after Denbrock left,
Yep.
and fell into a great situation with
Coach Rule.
Why Nebraska?
Coach Rule. Yeah,
Why Nebraska? I get that question all the time. Just the culture.
Yeah.
The culture in Nebraska, they're not known for, they are. 5 national championships.
But not
Probably-
recently.
Not recently.
Yeah.
So, they're known for the flash.
They got the right guy.
They got the right guy right now, Coach Rule. But they're known for their flash, but they're really known for just gritty, just football.
Punch you in the
Like
mouth.
punch you in the mouth
Yeah.
football. That's who we are. Like
Yeah.
you played at Iowa, you played at South Carolina, just gritty teams. So I just thought it was the right fit just for my skill set, and I feel like I can flourish in it. And I mean, with the coaches,
They've had some gritty tight ends come out of there recently.
Oh, yeah.
Not big name guys, but
Gritty.
they're still in the
and
league
they're
right
in the
now.
league. They're in the league. But I mean, Coach Satterfield and Coach Rule, Coach Holgerson. I mean, I'm just very excited to.
Yeah.
Coach Holgerson, is he new
Yeah.
Yeah, he took
OC.
over the OC.
OC. Oh yeah, he's a beast.
He's an
He's a
old
Where'd he
beast.
school.
come from?
He's old school.
Houston.
He was the head coach at Houston,
Yep.
but he was a OC. Big
Did he
time
come
OC.
from? Did he come from? He left the head coach. To
No, he took a break.
No, I think he took a break and
couldn't
Came
stay
back,
away.
retired,
Yeah.
and then just really wanted
Yeah.
back in.
That's the
and
kind of guy you want.
That's
though,
the.
right?
Oh, he
But he
loves
can't leave
football.
it.
He loves football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Coach Rule loves football. And like the main
He's a
thing
Midwest
is,
guy, too.
the main
Grew up
thing
in
is
Iowa.
Midwest guy, played for Penn State.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, Coach Rule.
Coach
yeah.
Rule, yeah.
And I think guys like that just want to be around.
They
you
wanna-
guys. They want to be around.
Oh, they live off
these
of
young
it. They live off of
players,
it. That's what
yeah.
they live off of.
Yeah,
And they really
coach
care
them up as young
They
men,
care.
not only football players, but
off the
just
field. That's the
and
most
a
important.
life. That's what I. That's
Football
what I
is a
learned
life
about
lesson.
Football. Yeah,
It's a life lesson.
so much,
Yeah.
much to learn, and for everyday life, and that's it. I didn't know anything, and I still don't know a ton, but just the atmosphere and the energy and the physical and the idea that if one guy doesn't do his job out of the 11,
Yeah.
the
gotta be a
play's not
perfect
going to
system.
work.
Yeah.
So everybody's got to do their job.
It's
whether you're
tough
on
to
the
be a,
opposite
it's tough to be a football coach. I mean, you got to make 11 guys
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
symmetry.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's,
You know?
it's really cool. I wish I would have.
But Coach Rule, I feel like some of the stories Mac tells me, and I don't hound him every day. I let him do his thing, but he tells me Coach Rule.
I'll tell you.
stories.
You won't ask. I'll just tell you.
Yeah, and they're great, man. And I honestly think he's the way he is because he played for Coach Paterno at Penn
Yeah,
State.
yeah.
That's who
That's-
taught Coach Rule. And
It's
I think Coach
contagious,
Rule
yeah.
brings that old school football.
You played against him.
And yeah, I did. And I think that's what makes it special. And it's
It
a
is.
special place, man.
Special
I mean,
place. Great fans.
I always knew they had great fans hearing about it. And
Most
actually it was
sellouts.
our rival at Iowa.
Yeah. Most
But,
sellouts in college history.
Yeah. I mean, but the
Longest streak.
I would say that South Carolina, Nebraska, and Iowa are extremely similar in size
Yeah.
and fan base because
I think
that's
they're-
all they have.
They're extremely similar
no
and just
professional-
fans. Like the
yeah,
fans
they're just
care.
rabid. There's no professional sports.
Yeah.
There's none.
Or,
Exactly.
so they live
That's
and
what it
die
is.
with those
Yeah.
teams, whether they're 2-9 or
Exactly.
11-0. You're going to get the same.
Oh,
How about
packed
this?
out.
He's
Packed
at
out.
the dentist today,
Yeah.
an assistant or something.
The
found out
dentist
you
today,
played-
an assistant, found out I played for Nebraska, and he was all over him. I got a picture with him, and they're just like they're all over.
He grew up in
Like
Nebraska.
grew up a Nebraska fan.
Yeah.
They're all over. They're just diehard.
People
like,
are passionate. I
they're
can't believe.
passionate, so passionate,
I
and it's
can't
awesome.
believe, like, I can remember we were at a Mizzou game and Kyle was playing for South Carolina, and you were there. You were next to me, I think, and I became such a Gamecock fan,
Yeah.
and I loved everything about him, and I was going to back up anybody
Yeah.
who was on that sideline, and there was
Sure.
somebody yelling at Muschamp like 10 rows behind us, and I stood up and started yelling at this guy, and I
You
got
care.
my
You care.
wife next to me, and it's just
We are what we
we're
are.
passionate,
Passionate,
and
yeah.
I'm not sure it was the right thing to do, but I knew Muschamp was out there giving his all, doing
Yeah,
his thing.
they're all coaching.
They're all
ass
giving it their
off,
all.
man.
Everyone's
Yeah.
giving it their
Just
all.
trying to
People
survive,
don't
you know?
realize that.
There's
People don't
nothing-
realize it. People see all the game days. They don't see the gritty practices, the meetings.
And it's hard
fall
when
camp.
he committed to LSU, and I started thinking about that. I'm like, God, I know I don't have anybody at Carolina
Yeah.
anymore.
Mhm.
But my goodness, we spent a lot of time, and I fell in love with the school and
Oh,
the
yeah.
people and everything. And I'm like, but this is blood, man. I gotta.
And luckily, LC was west.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we never faced off.
Luckily,
Yeah.
it never
A little bit
had
easier,
to
a
happen.
little bit tougher.
Yeah.
But it is hard, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
I mean,
is.
it's hard, man, because you invest a lot
Yeah.
into
It's blood. You invest
those
blood.
teams. And I'll always
You
like
invest
from
blood.
here on, I'm a Gamecock. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And not that I mean,
No,
I'm a
100%.
Cornhusker too.
Yeah.
You know, but
100%.
it's just interesting to me how passionate. Like I'm not passionate about where I love Memphis. I love the basketball and stuff, but it doesn't mean what South
Well, look at-
Carolina meant to me. And I
look
mean,
at-
I've always been Iowa
well,
too. I mean,
Look at Iowa. Who's the Thanksgiving, the Black Friday big rivalry game? It's the Hawkeyes
Yeah.
versus the Cornhuskers.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
hate each other.
That's a
each
perfect
other.
example.
Hate each other. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fight before every game.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I remember when you didn't go to Iowa. I think I got banned from the state.
Oh,
several.
You got banned from the
fans,
state?
and I'm banned from Iowa. But we're gonna get at least a farm done.
We got
Oh, yeah.
family-
Fans don't like this
family
guy
around.
anymore.
We gotta
Hey,
go
I
kill
committed
this
to the
guy.
rival.
Yeah.
They're not too happy about this guy.
India?
Yeah.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
trying to ban me
On
from
Twitter.
Iowa. But,
Bring it on. Bring it on,
Yeah.
Iowa.
We're gonna go
on,
find
Iowa.
that lease up there, and we're gonna kill Big Buck. That's gonna really.
That's
rub
gonna
it in your
be
face.
funny when you go to Iowa and you scan your ticket and they're gonna say,
Drive across the border. Wait a second. So-and-so from this website said.
"Yeah, you are banned."
You are banned. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we're stoked. The
Where's that game
atmosphere
at?
Cornhuskers, you know.
Is that a neutral site?
No.
No,
No,
they're
it
playing
goes
they're
back
playing
and
in
forth?
Nebraska this year.
Ooh,
Not,
We
yeah,
played-
What is it?
We
See,
played
what does that
Iowa
stadium
last year.
seat? Like 80 or 90?
80, 85.
See, they're all
And it's
similar.
85, and here's the difference. I saw it in Nebraska. LSU, the loudest
Great
stadium
stadium.
I've ever played in.
Yeah.
That'll be the loudest
That's
stadium
loud,
I'll
yeah.
ever play in.
yeah.
I mean, going out of that tunnel, ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yep.
But Nebraska, there's not an empty seat.
Yeah.
Like, to the very top row, there's kids or fans
Well,
cheering
they're
you
coming
on.
from all, everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's a pretty tall stadium too.
Oh,
isn't
yeah,
it?
it gets loud.
Yeah.
It
It's
rocks.
locked in.
Yeah.
It's all the way around.
It's
Those
got
are,
that
those are the
kinda
loudest
like-
ones. The
yeah,
ones
they
that
are.
kind of
That's what's funny. What was?
cram
This is
you.
a great question. Loudest stadium. I know your answer.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Death Valley, right?
I actually got another
Loudest
one.
stadium you played in.
Man. I think the loudest I felt it
Yeah.
was Georgia my freshman year.
At Georgia.
Yeah, when they
Sanford,
they kicked
Oh.
the ball off to me.
Yeah.
They punted it in the air.
Pushed it to you.
I've never experienced that before.
Your
This
heart's going-
is a
prepped for
Saturday night game. Student section right next to me. Never prepped for it. This ball coming down at me, and all I hear is these fans just
Oh.
screaming at me.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's the loudest moment.
In
I
slow
remember.
motion. That was in slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was heartbreaking because
I think I sprinted forward.
you were going to make your block. You were going to make your
You didn't
block,
want to Job,
yeah.
and the ball dropped behind them, and they recovered it, but they jumped off sides because they were anticipating,
Oh,
you know, that happening. And
tell
I
you
was
what,
like,
though.
I was so thankful.
Here's
I don't
one
think you
thing,
saw
is
any
special
time
teams
the rest of that
doesn't
game.
get a lot of credit
Yeah,
on how
I
stressful
really
that
enjoyed
is.
the game.
Oh.
Special teams does not get enough credit how stressful
Yeah.
it is.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more stressful than playing like an actual
Well,
down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
Kyle-
the special teams coaches are nuts.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And he
yeah.
broke, remember, you broke your rib, your
Yeah.
top rib on a kick
Yeah.
coverage.
A fracture you only see in car accidents. So
Markway
That's
trade.
football.
Markway
Yeah.
trade. Every injury we've had, you.
it's very rare.
Very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
And they said, I remember when the doctor said, you know, he shouldn't have played the rest of that game. If that bone would have moved another quarter inch, it would have cut
Sorry.
an artery in his neck, and that's when it gets real.
That's when it gets
you
real,
know,
yeah.
but I mean, he knew he was hurt, but
No,
you know, it's
I remember seeing you after that game, and you were like, we always talked whenever I come to a game, and he'd come over to me, and I said, man, how you know, and he kind of,
yeah, it was a Mizzou game.
yeah, he goes, Uncle Matt, my shoulder hurts pretty bad.
Yeah,
But he got on the bus, and then they ended up cutting the rib out,
they
right?
take it out.
Took it out.
Sleep that night.
Oh no, I bet not.
Yeah, the team doctor says,
No.
yeah, he says,
It's like
we're
this.
going to take that rib out.
Point-
I'm like,
pointing
we're
north.
going to take the rib out. You know, like you don't need it. We got extra ribs up there.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have saved that thing.
You
That'd be
should've.
cool.
That would be
Especially
cool.
if it had a nice
That would be
point
cool.
on it.
And then how about the injury? When I was playing in college, I broke a bone in my ankle, and we went through the same process. Played for like 3 games in a row. I'm like, oh my god, this is just really something's wrong here, man. It's not a sprain.
Hey, famous Markway words. It's just a sprain.
Yeah.
Famous.
And I remember coaches and everybody said, it's just we'll get through it. We'll get through it. I said, man, we got to get this thing X-ray. They got an X-ray with a broken bone.
You got begged for an X-ray.
Was that the navicular
Oh, you
bone?
do have to beg.
Yeah,
Is that
and
navicular?
got a surgery. Yeah, and it's your navicular
I
bone.
had navicular too.
And remember the doctor going, the surgeon going, this is so rare.
Yeah.
And we don't see this very often.
Yeah.
So years go by, right? Kyle's playing at Carolina, and the he breaks his navicular. I'm like, what in the world? What are the odds of that? And you know,
Crazy.
Only
and
two navicular bones never broken.
the only two navicular bones
Markway.
that I
All
know
Markway.
ever broken. Never heard anyone else doing it, but we both did it.
Yeah.
You know, and
And it's normally a basketball injury.
That's
I
what they
think.
were. I think.
Right.
And it's hard to find. You need to get an MRI. You can't get an X-ray. They won't see on an X-ray,
Right.
and so you're forced to play on it for
Yeah.
3 months,
weeks,
and
yeah.
everybody thinks it's just a sprain.
They think you're a big
you're
bus.
gimping around.
Yeah, you're
like,
gimping around.
I'm not soft.
Yeah.
I'm not soft.
They're taping it, 1,000 times. It still hurts.
Yeah.
It's not
Doing all
sprained.
the
I
special
promise
tapes.
you.
Remember the trainers going, we're going to tape it a different way.
And you're fighting for your life out there with.
Oh yeah, you're fighting for your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're getting called soft and soft this and other words I can't say on here.
Oh yeah. They don't know those words.
And that hurt. That's tough on your mental there.
That right there is why in business, when you get kicked in the gut,
Doesn't-
you're
yeah.
already
nothing-
callous.
Nothing phases.
You're already callous.
Nothing.
Like, okay,
Yeah, I try to
went
think about
through the
those
wars,
sometimes,
man.
yeah.
Like, and but
Well, what's nice is having, at Markway, it's like having the team around you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We can vent to each other.
oh yeah,
You see the other guy's bummed about something. It's just I like that. I like that part of it. So I like picking our guys up when they need to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah. I think the loudest stadium I played was Ohio State, the Horseshoe.
Horseshoe.
I'd
Have
probably
you ever
say
seen the Horseshoe?
No.
We playing that next year.
Was that Ohio State?
Oh no, we're
we
playing that
played
the
there
following
this
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that thing
I'm excited
is
for
like,
that one.
you're talking about tall. Like
That one, it goes like
it goes
that.
straight vertical.
Yeah.
Really?
Straight
Ohio
vertical.
State Stadium?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't look like it from the.
Oh, it's so
It
loud,
does,
man.
yeah.
I remember great story about that when I was so fired up as a freshman to be playing there, and I was going to get a little bit of time, and Marky and Pawpaw didn't go, and they had a bunch of people over to their house. We're going to have people and watch a game on ABC, big game, like both top 10 teams.
So were you playing tackle?
No, I was tight
Tight
end
end
at
at
that
this
point.
time?
Yeah, and the first, maybe it had to be one of the first 4 series. I got out there, and I jumped off sides twice in a row.
I got one of those stories.
In a row.
Camera.
And
Camera
I
like
remember,
this. Freshman
and Coach
year,
Fry wasn't like that, but I remember him just
they remember
berating
it.
me, and I know it was all on. Like I was on TV.
We've all got one false start.
I did not step on the field the rest of that game.
Yeah, but that's the same thing with Spurrier.
Yeah.
Is if you make a mistake, he will remember it until you're a senior and you won't play another snap.
Yep.
And my first game as a freshman this was Thursday night, opening game of the whole
Yeah.
entire country.
Yeah, South Carolina, North Carolina.
South Carolina,
North
North Carolina,
Carolina.
in Belk Bowl in North
Yeah.
Carolina.
We were at Coach Dave's
Panther
house.
Stadium.
Yeah.
I get my first shot running out there as a freshman.
Yeah.
Jump off sides. Passing route. I'm
Yeah.
running a route. Going to get the ball. I
Yeah,
think they threw the route the next play to a different tight end.
Oh.
Jump off sides. Don't go in until he retires midseason, and then I get another shot. So I don't know if that would have kept on going if he would have stayed there or not, but those coaches remember it.
They do. They do.
Probably especially the mental mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
and the players remember those.
Yeah, for sure.
The players remember things fans don't see.
No.
Yeah. They don't see those.
But
I'd probably say, besides LSU, the loudest stadium I played in was Mississippi State.
Cowbells.
That's
First,
a
and that was
yeah.
That's a great
my
one.
first start.
Yeah, it was.
First
I
start.
remember watching that.
Yeah.
Cowbells.
Goddamn
It was like
bells off.
cicadas.
Oh my god,
Non-stop.
it's awful. And
Non-stop.
they walk in. They walk in with like leather family
yeah.
heirlooms.
It's heirlooms.
Bells.
They pass them down.
Wow.
They
And
pass
I'm
them
like, what are we
down.
going
Doesn't that have to be
Where are we
annoying for
going?
them, too?
Huh?
It's got to be annoying
I
to
think
them.
they
It's
take so
gotta
much
be.
pride.
It's gotta be. It's not. It's annoying. It's
Like
not.
if you don't, we luckily got after them.
we got
early,
after them early.
which the Cowbells kind of.
The Cowbells showed off about
You
that
did.
second half.
No.
Those cowbells were going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I think it was like 45 to 14 or
Oh,
like
yeah.
to 7 or something. We smoked
Yeah.
them.
That's just, what the one that annoyed me, which I know if you're if you went there, you're a fan,
Right.
is A&M. All those goddamn
Oh.
chants.
Oh.
And
It's
stuff.
like a cult.
Oh,
It is a cult.
it is a cult. It's scary. All that goofy. God.
They're good at it, though.
They are
Yeah,
good.
they're perfect, huh?
I think
Yeah,
that I thought it was either Georgia or A&M games I watched you on the road, But I felt like that at A&M. That place was shaking. Like, I
A&M's
could
huge. Yeah.
physically
That's a big
feel
It's
stadium.
a tall stadium.
Yeah.
too.
Really
That's a
tall.
new stadium.
Really tall.
I'd say A&M is. If it wasn't Georgia, I'd say A&M.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the loudest.
Carolina was
Did you
good,
play at
too.
A&M?
No.
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 Mm-mm.
Did they come to you or something?
Yeah, they
I guess you won't ever.
Last game, they were our rivalry game.
They were, I think, the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, Carolina rocked, but it wasn't always loud to us, you know.
No.
Here you get used
Carolina
to it.
rocked.
Yeah.
Well,
South
it's a
Carolina,
different
yeah.
loud, I'm sure, when it's in,
Everybody
in
says
your face.
You're
right?
used to it.
Everybody
Yeah.
says if they come to Carolina, then it rocks them.
Same
But,
thing about LSU.
Tell them about. I know you had a cool thing happen with the Heisman.
Oh yeah, caught my
So-
first touchdown from Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Baller.
And,
Yeah.
what a baller, man.
What a baller.
Complete baller.
They made the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be
Best player I've ever seen.
he'll be
Best
the league
player I've ever
MVP
played
at
with.
some point.
100%.
At some
Yeah.
point.
1,000%. Pro bowler.
He's so good.
Pro bowler.
Tell him about how he told you before the game, or he's going to get
It was
you on. And,
yeah, he said some. I don't remember it exactly, but there was something like that either before the game or in a meeting or something. It was like a point of emphasis.
Yeah.
You know, and when it happened, like obviously it was my first one, so and it was wide open, so I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna drop this shit. I'm gonna drop it.
Yeah.
Those are the hardest ones.
Says something about him too, being this
Yeah,
Heisman
comfortable.
guy and wants to get a freshman.
Well, I mean,
It's a
he's a.
leader,
yeah.
right? It's a
I mean,
leader.
I don't know. Like he was an older guy,
Mhm.
like captain on the
Sure.
team. I mean, throwing it to a freshman like that, he probably don't want to do that.
No, he's got two.
He's got
first-round
two
draft picks.
He's got two first round
Every
draft picks,
receiver.
and we got to score a touchdown.
But I
That's
think,
boring,
he
though.
probably sees what he's been there, right? So he sees what that can do for a kid like you. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And probably what it did. Like,
Oh,
look at
yeah.
the confidence. That
Oh,
instills
yeah.
You like, hey, I can. You always think you can do it.
you can do it
You
now.
did it.
Yeah,
Like you've done this. Like this is. I
Yeah.
can do this.
I can do
This
it,
is
right.
And I'll
not-
never forget who the first guy to run
Malik.
up to was.
Malik
Malik
Neighbors.
Neighbors.
Grab my helmet.
Who's arguably one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Already.
Already.
Yeah.
And just
He's awesome. He was awesome. That was really
I mean,
cool. The
you
whole
had some
sideline.
great memories at LSU and some great players to play with. Some great players.
Yeah.
And
Arguably the two best receivers and best quarterback to ever play there.
arguably.
Arguably.
They're on
Probably
their
some
way.
people.
They're going to be. That's a big debate.
Debate?
With the,
Yeah.
with the wide receivers.
Are
And
definitely
the
debating.
quarterback, but
Yeah. Burrow.
whew, a lot of you saw Jaden in person. Yeah,
You should-
I just
You should see him in practice.
yeah.
Seeing him every day.
Oh, tell them about the races.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
This is
They would have-
This is pretty cool.
They would have like races at ends of practice, and Jaden would smoke everyone.
Well, that just shows their competitiveness.
But Jaden would smoke. Jaden would
smoke the receivers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
by like a yard.
I believe it when I see him run.
He was
God,
he
he's
was so
fearless.
quick.
Yeah.
The
To me,
best
he always
play.
looks like almost. I know he's not, but he almost looks brittle. Like
Oh,
he's such
invincible.
He's so lean.
He's invincible.
He's so lean.
He took
He
shots.
takes shots.
Yeah.
He took some
He wasn't afraid to take shots.
two targeting shots.
Yeah.
Got right back up, played the next snap, sitting in the pocket, taking a shot, got
I
back
think
up.
that's
Yeah.
mental strength.
But I mean,
think
the
Jim
best
Brock
play
did
I ever
such a
saw.
good job on
Oh
that.
yeah, helped him.
Yeah.
But the best play I ever saw was against Florida. This wasn't even a design play. I was watching on the sideline, and it was like an outside zone, something, and he's not supposed to keep it. Like it's a perfect handoff. Keeps it, 80-yard touchdown.
Jeez.
I'm like, outran the whole
It
defense.
looked,
I'm
I
like,
remember that play, and he looked like a
like a
his
gazelle.
speed
Like,
was. I mean,
it was
Florida.
ridiculous.
They got
looks like it's
fast
in
kids.
fast forward.
That'll-
He was just pulling
It,
away
look,
from
it looks
all
like
of them.
yeah, exactly. It looks like it's
that's
fast
one
forward.
player that can fix if one guy doesn't do his job.
Yeah.
It'll make you look good.
He can fix
He'll make
something.
you look
He
good.
Not
can
many
fix.
of those.
He can fix something if
He
six
made me
guys
look
do the wrong
good.
thing.
Oh, he made me
Yeah,
look
he
good.
can.
Well,
He made me
sometimes
look good a
that's
couple
the
times.
offense, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a broken play is
Yeah.
a broken play. He would.
There was
you know the
multiple.
defense coordinator would do that. When a broken play, they'd be like, "Oh no, oh no,
If you let him get out the pocket, it's over. He can do anything. You don't want a broken play.
no, for sure."
Well, and I remember when I was watching you, on TV, there was numerous. I mean, he did that all the time.
Every game,
Yeah,
multiple
all the
times a
time.
game.
Like, man, they can't move the ball.
And it
they can't move the
shows.
ball. Boom, 80 yards. You know?
It shows in the NFL. I mean,
They're still doing it.
They've won like 5 of their past games in like last second.
And his
Time.
game hasn't changed much. He's still
no.
very.
He still looks.
He
what's
still
funny,
looks
he
like
now
he looked
looks
like.
the fastest guy out there. Though. And then and now you're playing with another great one,
Dylan.
Dylan.
We get to build our careers. Get to build our careers together.
Yeah,
He looks exactly like.
P. Holmes.
It does. It's spooky how
It's weird.
the way he throws it, the way
he warms
the
up.
where he warms up his hair. They look the same.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's
bizarre.
scary. They call him Mini Mahomes or
Yeah.
something like
Is he
that.
a big recruit?
Oh,
he's
yeah, number
in
one.
the country.
Number one in the country.
Number one quarterback in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where's
And
he
he went to he committed
Georgia.
well, he committed to
Committed
Well,
to
that's
Georgia.
interesting.
Georgia,
Oh,
and then he decommitted to them and committed to Ohio State. And then his dad,
A legend.
was a legend All-American
Hall of Famer.
at Nebraska, and his uncle played at Nebraska.
I was wondering how you
Yeah.
got him out. They got him out of
His dad's a Hall of
the
Fame
southeast.
Yeah.
Because that's
Nebraska.
tough. That would be tough to
And
do.
his
a kid
dad's
that
one of the best
talented.
centers of all time, period. And his uncle's
Uncle's a
still the
baller,
O-line
played in the
coach,
league.
right?
His uncle's currently the O-line coach,
Yeah.
but he played for the Rams for a
Yeah.
little stint.
Yeah, just a very good football family. But,
Good people too.
Yeah,
Everyone's good people at Nebraska.
that's
They're all just family.
yeah.
That's what it is. They're family oriented.
And it turned out accidentally that one of my old coaches is at
Yeah.
Nebraska. So that's
Who's that?
it comes around, Kyle. So be ready for your kids. But
Yeah.
I mean, I
Coach Verducci.
My
Frank
favorite
Verducci.
nutritionist.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the football world is
So
tiny.
small.
It's
So
tiny.
small.
And but like I found out Verducci. So Verducci's at LSU. How about this? At LSU,
McMahon.
two of my former college teammates were
Oh,
on
yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
Bob Diaco and Kerry Cooks.
Mhm.
And then when he was getting recruited, the same guy that recruited me out of high school was there. Like it was just,
Yeah.
it's funny. Like the football world is just.
Speaking of that,
It's
I know
tiny.
a lot of people probably want to hear is your story in football of growing up and getting to Iowa and how that was.
Oh, I was overachiever and I think we talked about it in toughness, and I think toughness is everything. And I went to Iowa and fell in love with Coach Fry, and that is the reason I went to Iowa. And he has a big imprint on my heart, and got to play for guys like Coach Verducci, who you know now, and met some of my best friends in the world, like Raj Daddy, Matt Rogers, voice of the Tennessee Titans.
Oh yeah.
And
The Muffin Man.
and Live Golf now. The
Muffin
guy,
Man.
the Muffin Man, and he was actually my dad's. He was one of my dad's favorite people in the world, and and I'm looking forward. We're going to see him next weekend.
Saturday.
Yeah.
That's
So
something that
yeah.
Bert loved.
he loved it.
Yeah, it does.
It's
Small
true story.
circle.
Remember, Rogers could come in town. Rogers from Los Angeles, and me and Verducci were laughing about this the other day. But I was kind of like an Iowa guy, tough,
Midwest.
blue collar, and I remember they said they got this new lineman coming in from California, and I'm like, what? So I kind of had a weird chip on my shoulder, and I'm at the bar with some of my buddies, and we're having some drinks, and in walks, it's like 30 degrees outside. In walks this guy, and he's got white thongs on, long like shorts past his knees, like a button-up like Hawaiian California shirt.
Just vibing.
And just like
Just
oh
vibing.
yeah,
Just vibing.
and just walked in like he owned the room.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there with my buddies, and I go, "Who the is this guy?" And that's the new old lineman. And I'm like, "What?" Why? I just was like, I didn't give him a chance, right? Didn't even give him a chance. So we're at practice, and he was a little undersized, and I'm like, "Man, what? Who is this guy?" Like, it just. He's totally different than what we were. Like, just totally different. Totally different attitude.
Yeah.
And
Which is gutsy.
and you know him
It
now.
is. It is
So,
gutsy.
you know him now. So you know
Oh,
how
yeah.
he would be acting, right?
He's the same
Probably
guy?
the exact
Same guy.
Oh, wow.
Same guy. So in a locker room, I'm standoffish. I'm like, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Relax.
but we got out it all changed, man. We got out there in the football field. He was nasty.
Really?
Nasty. And me and
Respect
him
earned.
it was probably 5 or 6 reps, and he was just nasty getting after it. And I was like, "What's your name, man?" I said, and then it was like 5 practices in to our first practice together, and we became best friends. And after that, we were hanging out in the locker room. We didn't leave each other's side. And yeah, but he was. Everybody sees this, this guy on TV, and he's funny as hell. Believe me, he makes me laugh all the time. But Raj, you were a tough son of a gun, and
He's that funny every day.
every day.
He's got
Every
that
day.
gift. He's got a gift.
Every day.
Do you remember we went to Coleman's? So Coleman was my dad's best friend, and he had like I think it was like a 12-acre lake.
Yeah.
He had these little john boats with trolling motors on them, right? So, and full of bass,
Big bass.
And so we started out, and I think at the beginning I was with Dad, and you two were together, and we were fishing, like you normally would, top waters, fishing around the banks, and catching a bunch of fish. And then it slowed down, and I heard, I think Dad went, it was probably 9 o'clock by that time, so he was getting into the Bush beer, and dropped him off at the dock. And Matt says, "Well, I'm going to go trolling." Matt Rogers said, "I'm going to go troll." And I said, "Trolling?" I said, "Well, and this was again a West Coast thing. So he's
in the ocean.
like he's deep sea fishing.
Dragging on the bottom of the lake.
So he sits.
The bobber.
Yeah, and he gets this boat. He's in this boat with a little trolling motor behind it. And the guy weighs probably at that point, I'm guessing he's 300 pounds. He's big.
Yeah.
He's big. Way
Oh
too
yeah,
big.
we were both lying.
Way too big for this boat.
Yeah.
And so he's got this little minnow on there, and I see him cast it out. He gets out a little bit in the lake, and he casts it behind him. And he throws it over his shoulder like this. Let's see, it's like this. And he grabs that trolling motor and hits it. And I don't even think he can see over the front of the boat. 'Cause the boat's like this. The front of the boat's like 4 or 5 feet up.
He was flying?
No, it was because it was so heavy. It was so heavy.
Playing out.
And then he hit a shallow spot.
Yeah.
And he's in the middle of this lake, and I think you and I were fishing together
Oh
at
yeah,
that
we were
point.
fishing together.
And we're probably 200 yards away, and all of a sudden I hear him say, "Need a little wind here." I tell you, that statement will stick with me for the rest of my life, because we looked over there and he's not going anywhere. He's just stuck. There's no trolling. And actually, the funny part was he caught some bass trolling. And he was like, "Look at me."
Remember, Pops was like, "I kind of like this."
Oh, yeah. They
And then they were trolling together.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, God.
Yeah,
He
Pops
was
and him were
so
trolling
funny.
together.
So funny. I remember, because that was when Dad had an extended cab.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
had
we were wedged
you had the
in that
reverse
thing.
doors. You were in the front, and I think Rogers and I got shoved in the back, and I fit back there, okay, but Rogers did not. His knees were like this, But he was a guy that you instantly, or is a guy that you instantly, like, I love this guy. Like, and he cares. He cares about people, and probably because your relationship, he loved our family. Well, we had some great. You guys don't know. I don't know. We should take you out there sometime. We had a clubhouse in Allenton.
Yeah.
Out by Six Flags, and this place was a dump. I don't think Mom ever went out there.
No,
So
never.
it would flood. The basement would flood, which is just like a screened-in area. And he had a little john boat that we'd get stuck on.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes, and so we would fish, and my dad would have some nice plugs and stuff, and there was a lot of rock banks, and like it wouldn't be 5 casts, and you'd see, and I know I did it multiple times, and Matt did, and throw that Zara spook. Probably at that point it was probably a $5 lure, but it would hit those rocks and just splatter, like 50 pieces, and you look back. First thing you do is look back at Dad, and he's like. And
He wouldn't say nothing, but he just would get you another lure.
And it was
That's the
quiet.
thing. It was quiet.
And then he would.
That's the worst, though.
That's the
Oh,
word.
when they don't say nothing.
And
they're
then
disappointed.
we'd get stuck, because he eventually bought a jet boat, but this is a prop boat. And we get stuck, and Matt was little, and he'd say, "Nate, jump out in front and drag us through these shallows." And I was probably at that time maybe 12, 14, 15 years old, but and it was multiple years. I remember I was pulling, and it was a pretty good current, and I'd be like, maybe knee deep or whatever, dragging up through these and I thought I was going to die, but I couldn't quit. Like there was no, I couldn't quit. I turned around and he's got a Salem in his mouth and a bush beer in his hand. And faster! First thing he did when he got in the boat was turn his hat around backwards.
You couldn't complain to that man.
No,
ever.
And I would drug it, and I could see it in Matt's. I can remember this. I could see it in Matt's eyes. He's like, poor Nate, poor Nate. You know, but you know that
Because he wasn't talking to me at that point either.
no. And you sure as hell
You were
weren't gonna
kicked
say,
back?
hey, Dad. No, I think the current's too strong.
No, that's where
Right?
things have changed a little bit. Like I can honestly say this. I never complained to Pops I can't remember the one time I complained against him. Do you?
Oh, no.
Like you
No.
didn't? You just didn't.
Would you complain to Marky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would.
Yeah, I don't feel like I complained to you.
Yeah.
No,
That
I don't know
much?
that you. I mean, I don't think about it. Everybody complains occasionally.
No, but I'm saying like just
from
Pops.
stuff that Dad did.
You could but I'm saying just anything.
Yeah.
You couldn't. You wasn't the type of guy where you're like, damn, that was a shitty practice, or he'd be like, nah.
I'd say we had the best mom
Yeah,
and the best
and,
dad.
and what a great grandpa he became. He really
Yeah.
softened
Oh, yeah.
up with you guys.
Yeah, that was a change.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
strange
it was
for us
weird,
to
huh?
see him
It
so
was
soft.
weird.
Putting on my shoes
Oh,
before
yeah.
football practice.
He used to put.
Weird.
He would get you dressed, basically damn near every little league practice.
Almost every little league
That's
practice.
unbelievable that
He'd
has.
drive
You had
me-
to have some shit hanging
He
off
was-
everywhere. There's no way.
No.
There's no way he
Oh,
was
no.
good at that.
No, so here's the thing. Marky would do all the upper stuff. Bubble had the shoehorn.
Oh yeah, he'd bring
Oh,
that
yeah.
shoehorn.
Yeah.
He was the
That
only
long
kid using a
shoehorn.
shoehorn.
Yeah.
Only 7-year-old using an older antique shoehorn.
It had like
getting
a
his
duck on
cleats
the end of it. I remember.
Oh
it.
yeah.
I tell you,
You know, he reminded me of like, and unfortunately he got cancer, but he reminded me of the guy, the grandfather and Grumpy Old Man, the old grandfather. You know, just I eat bacon for breakfast, bacon for lunch, I drink beer, and he's 90-something years old.
That's how a grandpa should be, though.
Yeah, and that's an Henri, you know.
yeah.
Me and him have some good
Absolutely.
memories though with football.
Oh.
Every time he would stay there the whole time until Mom or you got there.
He'd come to your practice?
Oh, he watched
yeah.
the whole practices.
Until I get there
And
after
before
Biani
practice,
practice.
right by Kirkwood there was that little
The
river.
little ramp. Remember the ramp?
The
we used
ramp,
to go
the
to every
boat
once in a while right at
The boat
Marshall
ramp.
Fields.
Me and him would stand on there and just talk
Yeah.
for like 30 minutes. before
Yeah,
practice.
I mean that's totally different. Isn't it?
completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
He really
I don't remember,
changed.
yeah.
And
I guess
he
that was
softened
when I
with
was
the
in
grandkids.
college.
But
The
you know
grandkids
what?
softened him.
I'm going through that right now, like with JR,
JR,
Johnny Rocket. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
different deal, man, and you can't explain it.
Yeah.
It's just, he's coming over to spend the night tomorrow night,
Yeah.
and that freaking kid,
Fired
and he's
up.
gonna be tough. Like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
tough. He isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's tough.
Yeah.
He hits his head and he just keeps on going. He does this wounded
Gets concussed
soldier.
and he moves on.
He does this, He does this wounded soldier crawl with one leg and one arm.
Yeah, it's his preferred
football
movement.
there.
That's football.
That's
Yeah.
football
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, it's his Papa imitation, and man, he goes up and over the legs of chairs and stuff. I mean, he's the coolest little dude I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I guess you say that about, I told these guys I'm ready for Kyle to start, Julia to start popping them out as soon as we can. No pressure.
August 29th. We're getting
Julia,
ready.
I know.
Julia, we need more
August 29th.
babies. Yeah. Then it's legal. Start
August
popping them,
29th, it's legal.
right?
It's allowed.
Do as I say, not as I do, right?
But we good?
I think
We
so.
hit on everything?
That was awesome.
Well, I think
That
you know
was
what
cool.
I'd like to do. I would like to do it again sometime. I mean,
Let's do it.
and just talk. I
100%.
mean, we got,
So many
and we
more stories.
really we need to do it.
You know what we
just
need to
us
do?
four at the
You know it'd be fun?
restaurant.
Farm.
The farm would be cool.
That'd be cool.
We got some
Bring Joe up
good
to the
hunt. We
farm.
didn't even touch any hunting stories.
No, we didn't get into
We've
it.
got some great. I mean, that's where we're at our best.
And you know we should do a hunting, like go hunting and then do it that night. That'd be fun. Just
That would be fun.
Yeah,
to get the genuine stories. You know.
I'd like to have Joe up. Can I
Well,
talk
Joe's
to the guy?
going up.
Joe up at the farm.
Joe's coming. He's filming that hunt we donated.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good.
So he'll
Good.
be filming it, and that's going to be awesome. Who at the Sansone Nick's charity, the 10-8 Foundation, Nate and I donated a hunt and for the auction, and got a really good donation for it, and it's actually a 13-year-old kid.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
White
for his 13th birthday.
which makes it
That's
way
awesome.
more fun.
That is
So
awesome.
he's wanting to kill a big whitetail buck. So
Oh, I bet you.
he's always
He's
and
fired up.
he comes from a duck hunting family over in Pike County, Missouri, and he's always heard about the deer over on across the river
Nice.
where we're at. So he's super pumped.
Yeah,
about
so
it.
we'll start scoping it out in June.
Oh
It'll
yeah,
be fun.
we'll get him. We'll get him a good shot at a big one.
We've done good. Well, we'll get into that next time.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thanks, guys.